Hey everyone. I haven't recorded quite as many videos this week because I've been rounding at the hospital, and so it's just been a matter of not having a chance to do so. But I will get back to it a more regular amount. So what you'll see is this one is a little bit, my paper for today has been in my bag for a few days, and so it's a little bit crumbly. But what this says on it is 0 severe cases. And what that is referring to is the Pfizer vaccine results. We're starting to get initial results coming in. Last week I talked about Moderna's 94.5%. Pfizer had 90%. They just updated it yesterday to 95%. It's kind of funny that it was Moderna did 94.5 and then Pfizer came out with updated ones that were 95%. Everybody wants to be number one. But what they did is they looked at the cases. So the way a vaccine trial works is they give people the vaccine, they give people a placebo, and then they sit there and they wait for people that are out in the public to get the infection. Because you have to compare and say, okay, in the control group, the ones that didn't get the vaccine, this is the rate of infection, because we know that infection is spreading and going around, and so people will get infected. And then in the trial group, the group that got the vaccine, some of them will still get infected too. Now, not very many because it's 95% effective, and we'll watch and see what the difference is. So we know that there's a difference in that the vaccine was 95% effective at preventing infection from coronavirus. The other thing that we learned was that no severe cases, meaning there were no cases of hospitalization, or there were no cases of intubation, severe case, or death in the group that got the vaccine, which is huge news, which is just a ray of extreme light at the end of this really long tunnel. Now, what that means is that we can have some hope that we will have a handle on this. Once we get the vaccine in place, once people are getting the vaccine, we can rest easy knowing that we can prevent severe cases with the vaccine. It will impact who gets the vaccine and who it's recommended for right out of the gate, because what we really need to do is prevent the severe cases. We need to prevent the hospitalizations. We need to prevent the intubations and ventilators and long-term or fatal outcomes from coronavirus. And with the vaccine, it looks like we're going to be able to do that. Now, will it prevent every infection? No. Does it need to prevent every infection? No. We need to establish that it can prevent the severe cases so that our hospital systems don't get overwhelmed. Right now, they are overwhelmed and on the verge of getting a lot worse. In Nebraska, cases are out of control. Our positivity rate is still super high. We know that it's going to take several weeks to recover. Even if we drop the positivity rate way down, even if we drop the case count way down, it's going to take weeks and weeks to recover. And those people that got tested and were positive last week, they're getting sicker right now. They're going to end up at the hospital in the next week. And so we know that it's going to be a problem for several more weeks with the hospitalization rate continuing to climb until we get things way more under control than we do now. So what we need to do right now is steel ourselves away, realizing that this is going to be a long, hard winter, that we're going to have to make sacrifices and do things that we would rather not do. I mean, skipping Thanksgiving is incredibly important because we can't handle another surge on top of this current surge, because everybody got together for Thanksgiving and they shared a meal and they hugged and they took off their masks and spent time together and let things go because it's a special holiday. We can't afford that in our state, in our country, really anywhere at this moment. And so that's something that we just need to say. I know that it sucks to miss Thanksgiving, and I really like Thanksgiving myself. But we know that things will be better. There is light at the end of the tunnel. This is not going to be forever. And so that's the takeaway message from all of this right now, is that it is possible to recover from this and to move through this to a place where we can get back to Thanksgiving and Christmas and all those things, but we're not there right now. What we still need to know, is about the safety, and that they have released the initial safety concerns, about it, and they were minor. So, injection site like warmth and pain, just like every vaccine. Sometimes like fatigue or malaise the next day or the day after, again, just like every other vaccine, and certainly tolerable compared to a severe case of coronavirus ending up in the hospital and everything like that. So safety and making sure that it's safe in the short and the long term. One thing that I see on social media a lot is that it gets inserted into your DNA and blah, 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 blah. Definitely not the case. That's not how it works. It's already, if you look up in a science book or YouTube or something, DNA, RNA, protein. We're already past the DNA stage with this vaccine. It's already in the RNA phase, and it goes into the cells, and then the cells take that RNA and they make the protein that goes on the outside of the virus. which then your body sees as coronavirus. I'm going to make antibodies for that without actually having the infection, without having all the other components of it. And I've talked about this on other videos, but it's already past the DNA stage. There's no way that it's going to get inserted into your DNA through this vaccine. It just doesn't make scientific plausibility or sense. So that's one thing that I've seen on social media about it. The other thing, and I don't spend, as much as I post on social media, I spend almost no time on social media because it just drains my energy. I do like to see the comments that you leave, so feel free to leave a comment or share. I mean, those things, build me up for the most part. And so I do read those, but otherwise I don't just sit and scroll the rest of social media at all. But the other thing I see frequently is about aborted fetal stem cells being used. Now, this was an issue that comes up and is not the case for these vaccines at all. Pfizer, Moderna, not fetal stem cell use. Way long ago, they used fetal stem cells from aborted fetuses to start some vaccine lines. Churches, even the Catholic Church, has said that it is morally acceptable and not sinful and not any issue to receive vaccines that were used from those cell lines because they were decades ago and the proximity is very removed, and the good versus harm weighs heavily in the good, and it's pro-life to get vaccines. I'm getting off on a tangent, but I just want you to know, and the take-home message is the Moderna vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine do not come from any cell lines that have ever been associated with aborted fetuses. So there's no concern amongst these two about aborted fetuses. And I can talk more about that on future videos and everything like that. But just knowing that, I think, will give people peace. And when you see the comments on social media, ignore them or comment or share this video or something like that. There's lots of good information out there, but unfortunately, the way that our society is, the clickbaity, the negative information gets shared much more frequently. What questions do you have? What questions do you have about these vaccines? This is something that's going to take a lot of work to educate the public, to make sure that everybody feels comfortable with it, so that when they start rolling out, people feel comfort with it. That's something that I'm going to work towards and still learn and make sure that I feel safe and comfortable with them. But I think we can rest assured that at this moment, this is a fan-frickin-tastic message going into a long, hard winter and Thanksgiving, that there was 0 severe cases, that is 95% effective at preventing infection, which means that there is going to be a light at the end of this tunnel. Please keep up the good work. Please steel yourselves away and realize that this is going to be hard, but we can get through it and things will get better. Have a good day. And please take a moment and hit the share button if you could, so that other people can see this message, have hope, and keep going in this really difficult time. Take care.